everybody! Today we are going to square up this quilt, alright, and then we are going to sew on the binding. We're going to measure from the side to here, and it is 4 inches. So what we're going to measure from here, and it should be somewhere around 4 inches, and it is, okay? So the way this is going to work is, I'm going to take it, we lined it up for 4 inches at the top, and 4 inches at the bottom, okay? And we are going to, see? I'm gonna square it up, okay? Now, if you have stuff like this going on, don't worry about it because it'll be covered up with the binding, okay? So that will still be covered by the binding, so we're still okay because it is less than 1/4 of an inch, okay? So we're good to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go do an overlock stitch all the way around. I always do that on all of my quilts. I want to make sure that they stay together and I don't want any fraying. Okay, we're back in the sewing room and we're going to put our overlock foot on. This is an overlock foot. Let's see if we can get our light right. Okay. This right here is an overlock foot, okay? It essentially lets you kind of do like what a serger does, but with your normal machine, okay? So we are going to put it on stitch number 16, right? And my machine tells us that we need the overlock foot, which is foot C, right? And then I have it on the normal 2.6 and 5.5. And then we're going to overlock our quilt on the edges. Okay, so when you line this up, you want to run the edge of your quilt right along this black piece, kind of like right here, okay? But see how my backing is kind of curling up like this? So I'm going to sew it from the bottom side, what is technically the back side, okay, to make sure I get all of that, okay? And you're not going to see this thread, so it doesn't matter what color we choose here, okay? So what it's doing is you want it to hit over here and then go off, and hit over here and then go off, okay? Just like it would in an overlock, okay? So this is what you're going to get, okay? That way it keeps it from fraying. This also, if I'm making it for what I think is going to be for a child, if the binding comes off, I don't want the whole outside of it to unravel, okay? We're just going to do that all the way around the whole entire quilt, okay? Alright guys, we're going to do some math now for the binding. So, this is a square quilt, okay? And I've measured it. I measured all four sides, and it's 56 inches square, okay? So we need 56 inches square times 4. 56 times 4 equals 224 inches, right? Plus, I just always add 20 inches because you need the overlap, you need the, you know, where it kind of overlaps for the corner. Excuse me. And then you need, when you're joining, you know, you're going to lose some of it. So I always add 20. So that gives us 244 inches of, and then I do 2.5 inch binding, okay? So I'm gonna try to use this blue for the binding, so let's see if we have enough real quick. So how much is this? Again, this is a scrap, and I'm trying to see if I have enough, right, to do this binding with this scrap. Alright, so this side is shorter, so I'm going to measure this side. So I've got let's say, just to be safe, 33 inches, right, by 22 inches once you cut off the selvage. Alright, so we have a scrap that is that's doubled over, so 44 inches, right, by 33 inches. And we want to know if we can cut, if we can, and we want to know if we can cut 244 inches of binding out of this scrap, okay? So how many 2.5 inch strips can we cut? Can we cut enough to do 244 inches? That's what we're trying to find out, okay? Right, so we need to know at 33, right? Let me look. Yeah, at 33 inches. So 33 divided by 2.5 is, we can get 13 cuts, okay, of 2.5 inches. Is that enough inches to get 244? So what we have to do is 13 cuts times 44 inches is 572 inches of fabric that we have here. So we definitely have enough, okay? So my question is, how many cuts do we actually need for 244, right? So each one is 44 inches. Each one of these cuts is 44 inches. So 244, right, is how much we need, divided by 44. So we need 6 cuts. So we need 6 cuts of this to get 244. So to make sure we can do 6 times 44 is 264 inches, okay? So that's totally enough. So we need 6 cuts at 2.5 inches, all right, to get enough to go around the whole quilt, all right? So let's do that. So you're gonna put this fold, or this fold, right on the line, okay? That's to make sure that that part is straight when you do your, I'm going to use this line right here, okay, the number 5 line, since we have plenty to do my straight cut. Let me grab my rotary cutter, get all of these wires and stuff out of the way. Okay, so we're going to cut to straighten our edge, and then we're going to cut 2.5 inch. I love this ruler because you can turn it around and look, you have a 2.5 inch black line right here. So you just line it up with 2.5 inches. So I always line up the bottom and the side, make sure we're cutting straight. Okay, so we need 6 of these. 1, so we're gonna piece these strips together when we come back. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to put these together to make one long binding strip. So first, okay, so this fabric, you don't have to worry, it's the same on both sides. But if it did have a front, like a right sides together, you would put right sides together when you put the next strip down, okay? But these don't. So what I do is I'll line it up with a line on my board like this, okay? And actually over here, right? Do you see this? This is a 45-degree on my board right here, okay? So I line it up right here. And then I'll take this one and just choose a line, okay? And line it up straight. Actually, let's go like this. So, because I need it to line up right here, okay? Right. So we're going to line it up right here, okay? So this should be right in the corner and this should be right in the corner. So let's make sure that happens. And it does, okay? So that's right in the corner and this is right in the corner. Then we're going to take a pin like this and we're going to pin, right? Before I pin the other side, I get my chalk marker, okay? And I will just put a line to follow, right? And this is the clover chalk marker, Okay, I love it. And then I will get a pin for the other side. Okay, like that. I will pull my machine in like this. And then we're just going to sew right on that line. And I've changed out my thread to the rainbow thread I'm going to use for the putting on the binding. Okay. Oop. Change it back to straight stitching. So you just sew right on that line. Okay. Just like that. Right? So since I just started the thread, you're going to cut off your tail. Remove your pins. Right, and then I always like to open it up and make sure that it lines up before I trim it. Always check it. Always check it. Okay? Then, so this ruler has a 1/4 of an inch. I take that, I put it right on the stitch line, and then I cut this off. Right? Then you're going to open it up. I'm going to press this open. You can get your ironing board out and everything if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to smash the crap out of it. Then turn it over. And then I take my scissors and I will cut off the dog ear. And that's how you put them together. And I will do the rest of them and I'll bring you back when it's all put together. I've got all of these sewn together. So what we're going to do is, let me find a join. Okay, so here's a join. So this is the wrong side, right, of the fabric facing up. So what we're going to do is take this corner and move it down to here, right? And then we're going to take this and put it in half, okay? And then I'm going to pin that. That's going to give us a little pocket at the other side to join, okay, our binding together. It'll slide right in this pocket, right? So I take this whole thing, right, and I just dump it right on the floor like this, okay? Then I get my quilt and I sew my bindings to the back and I fold them over to the front, okay? So I always start in the middle or a little bit down the side. I never start like right in a corner, okay? So you're going to leave a tail that's at least 6 inches long, like this, okay? Then you're going to start sewing it down. So just put it on the edge like this, right? And then you're going to do 1/4 of an inch. And I always back stitch. I don't know if you need to or not, alright? I know some people say to iron this, but I'm not ironing it, okay? I know that's controversial, but I'm not doing it. All right, so I'm going to stop right here for a second. I'm going to show you what to do with this, right? So we want 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, okay? That's where we want to stop sewing, okay? Right? 1/4 of an inch away, right? So let me line this line up on the edge. Alright, so we want to sew to that point and then sew off the edge at a 45-degree angle, okay? So let's do that. So make sure these are together and lined up. Alright, so we're right on that point. So now we're going to turn to a 45-degree angle, okay? And sew off. Alright, so this is what we've got, okay? So I go ahead and turn my quilt. Turn your quilt like this. Alright, so what I do is you're going to take it, make sure it's lined up like this, right? Fold it up so that this edge matches this, so this should be one long edge, right? Then I take my scissors like this and I put them straight down like this along the edge, and then I'll fold this down, right? I'll pull my scissors out and we have, and it's exactly the way we want it to be. So I'll grab a clip, okay, and I will clippity clip right there, and then we will start sewing. So what I do is I start a little bit, first off, let's make sure we're all straight and everything. I start a little bit in, then I back all the way to the end, okay? Make sure we're lined up here. And I'll do that on all 3 corners, and I'll bring you back when it's time to join the 2 strips together. Alright everybody, so now I'm going to show you how to take this pocket and use it to combine these two, okay? So put your pocket down, right? And then you want this to be longer than your little dippet, like this part right here, okay, where it's folded over. A little bit longer, like this much longer, okay, like an inch or so, okay? Alright? It's always good to have more binding than less, okay, let me tell you that, alright? Take this pin out, but hold it, you're going to need it, okay? So I go ahead and I pin this side down, okay, so that it's down, it's not going anywhere. So we have this flap, right? We're going to place this inside the flap, and we're going to line all of these raw edges up together, okay? And I'm going to go ahead, once I'm happy with the way all of this looks right here, at the end of that flap, I'm going to pin that, just like that, okay? Make sure you, that's not good, alright? Don't sew your quilt to your binding. How many times I've done that, okay? Alright, here we go. Now, if it gets up in there, just stop and put it back under, okay? so let me show you. So now, look. Ta-da! We have one continuous binding. And it looks like all the other ones, because when we joined, we did a 45-degree angle. Okay? So I think that's the coolest trick. Alright? So I'm going to machine bind this onto the other side, because this is going to be for a child, and I want it to last as long as possible. So what I usually do is I take it and then fold it right over to the edge like that, okay? And then I will sew it down, right? So, like I said, I'm going to start a little bit ahead of this corner just so I can show you how to do a corner, okay? So right here. So we're going to see that stitching line? We're going to hold this down right on that stitching line, okay? And we're going to try to sew like 1/8 of an inch away, right? So any little like pieces of thread you got in there, just try to get it all in there, okay? Okay, this is not cooperating, so I'm going to cut this off. I don't usually try to cut off stuff, but not cooperating. Alright, so I take this rather bit slower so that I can make sure it looks amazing, okay? So I'm lining this up with my 1/8 of an inch right here, okay? Okay, so when you get to this corner, I just go ahead and I sew all the way up right to the edge of this, okay? And then I will backstitch. Alright, so this is what we've got. We've got it sewn all the way up to the edge, right? Go ahead and turn my quilt this way. I go ahead and pull, 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 okay? Then, well, you want to talk about some strings that aren't cooperating. Alright. Alright, pull, 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 right? Then you're going to take either your fingernail or another object and you're going to press right at the edge of the quilt, and that will give you a miter, okay? Right? So you want a miter like this, right? And I'm going to put a pin so that it holds it. Alright, so it's holding it, right? But not a pin right on where I'm trying to sew, because I'm trying to put my needle down right where, so it looks like it's a continuous, right? So if you look, you want to put your needle down right there, okay? So I usually use my hand knob for that. It's important to get it right because it won't look right, okay? So I'm going to take, put the, take my pin out, and we will continue. And I'm going to backspace, so y'all can see, okay? See how it was right? Of course, you'll trim this thread right here, and then trim the tails off from the back. Right? And then see, you've got a perfect mitered corner where it looks like the top stitching continues on. Okay? And that's perfect. Alright, so we're going to continue all around the quilt, and then this quilt will be done.